Hello and welcome to the sixth grade math curriculum information slides. My name is Mr. Loudon and I'm going to be going over the rules and expectations as well as the standards and curriculum for Math 6. So to start out with, the sixth grade math teachers, we have Miss Calm and Mr. Hardman on the Dragon team, and then we have Miss Singletary and myself, Mr. Loudon, on the Knights team. So for you to get a glimpse at your teachers, we have Miss Calm on the far left, followed by Mr. Hardman, Miss Singletary, and myself on the far right. So in regards to communication, the best way to communicate with your child's teacher is through email, and we as the teacher will try to get back to you as soon as possible. You can also communicate through our teacher websites and our team websites. If you're unfamiliar of your child's team website, feel free to email their homeroom teacher, and they'll be more than willing to help you out and give you that team website. Quarterly newsletters via email. So just recently we sent out our Q1 newsletter, filling you in on any key dates or important projects coming up. So be sure to pay attention to that quarterly newsletter. Daily through agendas. Some students, if they are struggling with their academics, will require a parent's signature in their agenda just to make sure that the parent's staying on track and keeping up to date with their child and their subjects. Progress reports and report cards. So at the end of every quarter, if your child is failing or in danger of failing math or any other subject, you'll get a progress report sent home with them, and you'll be required to sign that progress report, letting us as a teacher know that you're aware of how your child is performing academically. So with math, organization is the key to success. We keep a 5-subject math notebook, and the students are responsible for maintaining that notebook and keeping it neat and keeping it organized. This notebook or binder should be only dedicated to math, so we don't need science or ELA or social studies notes in the math notebook, just math. So in sixth grade math, we do IXL, and we use IXL to practice our math skills. At the end of a lesson, a lot of teachers like to put their students on an item in IXL, and this tells us if they mastered that topic. IXL contracts will be required each quarter to review these skills, and the username and password should be in your student's agenda. If they do not know their username, everybody's username is their first name, last name, the @ Bailey MS. And the password, it just depends on what math teacher your child has. As for homework, so Mr. Hardman and Mr. Loudon tend to do weekly homework. So we assign it Monday and it's due Friday, while Miss Com and Miss Singletary tend to do daily homework. So each day before or after the warm up, they'll go over the daily homework and making sure your child got the right answer. If not, they work through the problem with them. So getting into the curriculum and the standards in Math 6, Q1, we talk about multiplication, division using the standard algorithm. We go into exponents, including fractional bases. So for example, 1/2 to the third power, 3/4 to the third power, stuff like that. We go into order of operations, factors, divisibility rules, and we're currently working on prime factorization. In Unit 2, we talk about greatest common factor and least common multiple using methods list, tic-tac-toe, and prime factorization to solve. And then we get into we introduce integers. We talk about the key vocabulary with integers, opposites, absolute value, comparing and plotting them on a number line. And then we add and subtract integers up to -20 using number lines and chips. In Unit 4, we translate algebraic expressions. So for example, 2x means 2 times a number. 1/2 x would mean half of a number. We solve 1 and 2-step algebraic equations using inverse operations, and we use the distributive property to simplify expressions and equations as well as factor algebraic expressions. That's it for Q1. And Q2, we hop into Unit 5 and we translate phrases into inequalities. We solve 1-step inequalities and we graph all solutions to inequalities on a number line. In Unit 6, we multiply and divide fractions and solve algebraic equations involving fractions. And then in Unit 7, we add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals, and we solve algebraic equations with decimals. Unit 8, we convert between fractions, decimals, and percents. And in Unit 9, we write ratios based on pictures and scenarios, simplify ratios, and write equivalent ratios, and we write and solve proportions. Going into quarter 3, we find the percent of a number and solve other percent problems with missing parts and whole. And then in Unit 11, we'll add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators using algebraic equations. Unit 12, we plot points on a 4-quadrant coordinate plane, and then we move into Unit 13 with finding the perimeter of 2D shapes like rectangles, squares, triangles, trapezoids, and composite shapes, and we find the area for them as well. We also find area of shapes on a coordinate plane. In Unit 14, we find the surface area of rectangular prisms, triangular prisms, and pyramids, and we'll use the 3D shape and the net to find the surface area, and we'll also find the volume of rectangular prisms and cubes. Lastly, in quarter 4, we'll find the mean, median, mode, and range of a set of data. Unit 15 is all about data and statistics. We'll determine if a question is statistical or not, and we'll also create and analyze a box and whisker plot, as well as histograms and line plots. And then to wrap up everything in Unit 16, we'll review for the EOG. Basically everything we went over during the year, we'll review with your child and making sure they're on top of everything and good to go for the EOGs that will be taken late May, early June. And that's all the time we have for you. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to your child's teacher and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for your time.